This building was built 100 years ago in 1914 as a bank. I'm not going to explicitly state that it is super haunted, but it was a bank during the Depression, so you do the math. We have a beautiful space here. If you haven't been upstairs, make sure you check it out at some point tonight. Thank you so much again for coming out. I am extremely excited to introduce our very, very special guests this evening. Over here to my left is Jonathan Shaw. He is a world-famous tattoo artist who helped revolutionize the industry. He is also a brilliant writer who has written a book, Narcisa, which is being republished, and we have it for sale right up in the front. He will be signing copies of his book and doing a reading after the Q&A with Greg Foreman of Cat Power and Brandon Burkhart of the St. James Society accompanying him. That's going to be super cool. And leading the discussion here on my right is Mr. Jerry Stahl. He is the author of OG Dad, which is coming out on Father's Day. We have it on soft release for sale here at the Last Bookstore. They will both be here signing books afterwards. Let me go ahead and get you guys to give one more big round of applause to Jonathan and Jerry. Thank you so much for coming out.
Hello. Hi. So thanks a lot for coming out. Thank you everybody for coming. Dead mic section of the evening.
Turn it up.
Test.
Turn it up.
It's more or less live. Yeah. It's metaphor. So Jonathan, we're just going to get right to the Q&A. You know, you're one of my favorite writers because you're completely fearless about what you say about yourself, what you've been through, what you've seen, what you've experienced, what you've thought, what you've endured. So my first question for the kids in the audience is there anything you've ever not written about because you just didn't want to put it out there, you were scared? And if so, what is it? I don't want to talk about it. That's where you're going now? You're
Well,
full deniability?
If I didn't write about it, it's probably because I certainly not have the balls to talk about it. But, you know, it all comes out in the wash. If you do this, I mean, as you know, I'm sure if you do this long enough, sooner or later, no stone remains unturned because the writing process itself will oblige you, to go there, whether you really want to or not.
The greatest advice about writing I ever got on that subject was from the great Bruce J. Friedman, who said, if you write a sentence that makes you squirm, keep going. So were you squirming at all during Narcisa?
Oh yeah, squirming. I was doing a fucking St. Vitus dance through most of it. It's interesting. I don't know how you have worked, with this, because I've read all your stuff. It's some of the best, truest, grittiest, realist stuff, visceral stuff, and that's why I admire writers like yourself. And when I was writing Narcisa, I cried a lot.
Yeah.
There was a lot of tears involved. It was like a purging process. So I was
Literally, as you were writing it, did you write longhand or were you typing?
both. And as I was, going through the writing process and editing this stuff, some of the feelings behind the material I was writing were just so raw and so, just strong, I guess the word, that I would find tears coming to my eyes, and then other times I would just laugh hysterically, just sitting there in a coffee house cackling to myself, like some demonic creature, and the whole range of emotions in between.
What was the hardest? Not to put you on the spot, but what was one of the hardest things to get down on paper?
I don't think any of it was hard in the sense of oh, this is hard. It might have been hard.
I mean, hard to relive.
I don't think any of it was hard to relive because it's almost. I'm sure as this kind of writer yourself, that, when the eternal muse is standing over you with a fucking double-barreled shotgun, it's like you just do what you must do. It's not like you really have a lot of wiggle room. You know, it's like, well, I have to do this. I have this is, you know, so you know, once you have to do something, you really have to do something. There's not a lot of, oh well, you know, second guessing. You know, it's just like, here we go.
Selby, the late Hubert Selby, I showed him my first draft of my first book, and he said, you know, you should go back in and write about everybody you hate with love. It sounds really corny, but when that advice comes from a total badass, you fucking listen. So did you find yourself sparing the hateful?
Yes and no, because, you know, when you, to me, the whole process of writing, or just, you know, making oneself available to the creative force that comes through us when we're engaging in something like writing, to me, that whole deal is ultimately and inherently, it's an act of love.
Mm-hmm.
So, you know, as I spill my poison, my hatred onto the page, because there's a lot of hate in these pages.
Loving poison.
It's loving poison, it's loving hate. It's a weird kind of duality there.
I've had years like that.
Got it.
Yeah. Now, Narcisa came out a while ago. Was it a different version? Is this a, what's the difference? Because I have that copy and this copy.
It's the same essence, but it's a way different version in the sense that, like, I thought I was done with this book.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I wrote the book in maybe a 6-8 month period, and then, you know, like, I spent a lot of time editing it. Not a lot of time, a few months, like meticulously going through it myself as a, you know, sort of a self-propelled editor, because I didn't have any real connection to any real literary entity or publisher other than Heartworm, which was kind of a grassroots indie publisher. So I basically did everything myself. And, you know, the whole process probably took 8-9 months.
Mm-hmm.
And the book came out, and to my surprise, it sold really fast. And they published, I don't know, several thousand copies, and it sold out in like a month or two and became unavailable. And I was like, well, I guess we're going to do a second printing. And at that point, Johnny Depp had come to me, and he read it, because I gave it to everybody I know, and he read it, and he was like, yeah, I want to do like a real publishing thing with HarperCollins and blah, blah, blah. You know, I'd love to republish your book. And at that point, I told Heartworm there's not going to be a second printing, because now there's like big shots involved or whatever. So at that point, I just started, you know, I knew that they were not going to accept, HarperCollins was not going to accept a book that was written the way the first book was written, even though people really liked it.
Because
it was just kind of sloppy. I guess there was just, you know, a lot of repetition. You know, I'd use the same word 3 times in a sentence, you know, that kind of
it's like Truman Capote always said about writing, you know, always subtract.
subtract. So I spent like 3 or 4 years subtracting.
Yeah.
But as I subtracted, I also started adding.
Mm-hmm.
And before you know it, it was a whole different book, even though the essence that runs through it is the same. It's like, you know, when people ask me what's the difference between this book and the original Heartworm edition, I can honestly say, and this just came to me, the difference is the difference between this building we're sitting in and the architect's drawing of this building. It's the same thing, but there's so many more dimensions to the actual physical building, where there's people living and, you know, fucking and living and dying and loving and lying, and,
Yeah.
you know, and the architect's drawing is just kind of like a basic blueprint or a skeleton. So that's kind of how it turned out. And, you know, I thought I was done with the book, and I was like, I'm done with this. And I'm also done with the experiences that informed the writing of the book. And, you know, life had other plans. And I had to relive, literally, a lot of these experiences in, you know, a graphic way in my own life. And, you know, the whole thing is like, it's a transformational deal, you know. It's, I feel like through writing this stuff and then being forced to rewrite it through circumstance or whatever, it changed me in ways that are like, you know, that only the gods of writing could possibly understand over time.
How do you feel you're a different man now than when you wrote that first sentence in the first book?
I was, you know, I feel like I'm a different man in the same way as like the guy who's like drowning on a fucking sea and sharks are nipping at his ass. And the same guy who's been hauled out of that sea and stuck on a fucking lifeboat he's the same guy, but his circumstances have changed, radically, and that's just kind of how it feels, I just sort of closed the book on that guy. The guy's still there, but it's kind of like, you look at him and you're like, yeah, we did that, we lived this, we experienced that, it's like, I don't really need to do that anymore. And not only
Did that guy ever meet this guy?
He probably hoped he would, but I don't know if he ever dreamed that it was possible. I still kind of, it's a very surreal state to be in, as I'm sure you know. Looking back and forth at that guy in the mirror and going, who the fuck are you, man? It's kind of surreal. It's wonderful.
Well, you couldn't be here if you didn't go there. I'm thinking there's probably every other person in this audience is either a writer or they have a memoir in them that is eating them from the inside of their intestines trying to get out. I'm wondering, what would you tell them not to do?
What not to do?
What have you learned in the process that maybe people starting out don't know?
This is not original. Somebody told me this the other day. A friend of mine said it. And I don't remember exactly how he said it, but he's a really great writer and a really good friend. And he wrote this thing and he sent it to me, and I'm going to paraphrase it. And basically said, how to be a great writer. And it was something like, number one, go out and fuck up your life beyond repair or redemption. Number two, survive. Number three, read a lot. Number four, write. And that seemed to me to be some pretty solid advice, And, my experience kind of resonates with it, as I'm sure, yours does too.
Yeah, I always tell people, fuck up their life, lose everything, alienate everybody you love, make sure your family wants nothing to do with you, destroy your health, go broke, embarrass the living shit out of yourself, and then maybe pick up a pencil and paper.
Yeah.
But that's me. I don't advise that for everyone.
I'll try this at home, kids.
That's exactly right, yeah. Do it in public, because that's the way it counts. If you do it at home, nobody can share your shame.
Sounds like a good title for a memoir. Share your shame.
It's all yours, man. So would you like to take some questions from the audience?
Yeah, let's hear some questions from the audience. Should I pass the microphone out there, or do you just want to stand up and yell?
I think they can just stand up and scream. Everybody here looks like they have experience.
There's some
standing up and
screamers here,
screaming.
yeah.
Some of these people will just be on the sidewalk.
All right.
Any questions for the legend?
Wow.
We have a shy crowd here today.
Shy bunch.
You wouldn't have thought it.
No, they look like a wild crowd to me. Oh, this young man here.
Just a quick question. When you went from the indie label to the more well-known label, did you find yourself having to go against maybe some of your beliefs in order to get what they wanted, or did you still stay true to what you wanted?
Yes, Jonathan, are you a sellout?
Yeah, that's a great question. I would have sold out a long time ago, but nobody was buying. No, that's a good question, because you would think, and I probably would have thought that, like, I was going to have to, do a lot of stuff that they were going to tell me to do. And interestingly enough, all those years of editing, meticulous, obsessive, compulsive, like fly fucking editing that I subjected myself to in rewriting this book, apparently it paid off, because by the time this got into their hands, they were like, okay, well, we're going to publish this, we'll send it to our proofreader. And I was like, well, what about some editorial direction? Because, I like to be told what to do as much as
They don't do that anymore, Jonathan. It's all
the next
marketing.
guy. No, they didn't do nothing. They just said, no, we like it just the way it is. Now, maybe they were just blowing smoke up my ass.
I'm sure it's perfect. What happens to me is I usually
Suits me.
they get a proofreader who's generally an ex-nun
Ah,
who corrects all my fucked up grammar as if I want people to talk in perfect sentences.
Oh.
If I'm gonna do it, then I feel like I raped the next nun, and I feel really bad.
See, I didn't have that. I guess they must have gotten some fucking ex-whore or something to.
I don't know that it's a different person, really.
It might be.
Who knows?
Only they know.
Any other questions? Yes, sir.
What were your biggest influences as a writing?
My biggest influences. You mean what or who?
Who? Is what I
Okay,
meant.
because that's definitely two different.
Who? Yeah.
Yeah. What would be more of like drugs, degenerate sex.
Oh, quit bragging, man.
Yeah, sick degenerate. Who? Well, this guy sitting right here, Jerry Stahl, is a huge influence. That's among the living. Some fucking shit-brained reviewer, a very minor reviewer, said something really unkind in a review that really pissed me off because they said, apparently, this would be a great book except the writer is trying too hard to emulate or to I forget what the word was, but it's really stupid. It is like the writer's trying too hard to emulate Bukowski. And it's like nothing, it's like I knew Bukowski, and I knew Bukowski before he got famous. Like in 1971, I used to hang out with Bukowski, and he was always a huge influence because his writing was just so raw and so true and so conversational and so just hit me, that place where you just know that it's hitting you from a place of truth. But man, I wasn't trying. I couldn't. If I tried not to write like that on some levels, I couldn't. It's like because some things just get ingrained in your DNA. And there's no way you're going to get around that. You can't get away from that. So, Bukowski, of course, was a huge influence. Henry Miller, okay, huge influence. We have a friend here in the audience who's a mutual friend of Henry Miller. Celine, Ruby Ferdinand Celine.
I love him. He had a constant headache his whole life.
Well, yeah.
He was just literally banging his head on the table as he wrote.
God bless him.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, then some other weird people that you wouldn't maybe think of, like H.P. Lovecraft and, even Ray Bradbury and just all kinds of shit, And then there's just newspaper articles and comic books and just, it just goes on and on. Dostoevsky, everything I've ever read, eventually goes into the hard drive and then spits itself back out 30 years later through the writing process, and you're like, whoa, where did that come from? And that's why it's probably a good idea to read a lot.
Have you ever surprised yourself? You looked down and said, holy fuck, I can't believe I just wrote that.
All the time.
That's
Because
you're cooking, right?
That's all the time, and I don't take credit for that. I think there's some higher force or some, bunch of committee of like really smart guys sitting up there in, chairs somewhere, in some other dimension, just feeding me little tidbits, and sometimes, they'll shovel the...
See, I always feel like I have 5 out-of-work Borscht comics just sitting up there.
Yeah.
Sliding shit down the chute.
Yeah.
But that's me, I don't have a committee of...
Well, I wish I had the Borscht Belt comics, because,
5 guys named Red.
Yeah. No, there's like, Jerry wrote, there's 2 incidents in my life as a reader that I can recall, like just fucking laughing so hard I almost choked on my own saliva. And that's a hard trick. And one of them was in one of Louis Ferdinand Celine's books where he's describing his passage across the English Channel.
Sure.
And it's like a 3-page just dissertation on vomit. And the other one was in Jerry's book called Perv, a Love Story, where he... You gotta just read the fucking book. I can't describe this thing. It's like...
See, that was the tease. I don't remember.
Where some guy is like, I don't remember the exact circumstance, but he's in the back seat of a car and he's sucking somebody's dick at like knife point or something. and he's rolling the dick around in his mouth like he's chewing on a cigar. Do you remember?
That old routine. I don't know where I stole that.
I laughed until I almost choked, and that was.
It's funny because that was developed as an after-school special, but
Yeah.
somehow it's never got off the ground.
Well, just keep trying, man.
Well, listen,
Times are changing.
Nickelodeon, I don't know. I cashed the check.
Good.
Yeah.
At the end of the day,
Any, before we get to the reading, is there any, because I'm assuming you want to read soon, right?
there's a young lady in the front row.
Young lady in the front.
Do you ever feel like you just have to get it out? Like it's just something comes to you and this idea or whatever, you just have to get it out and you just, by whatever means necessary and flow, right?
Do you feel like you have to, do you ever feel like you have to get it out?
Insert joke here.
Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like the whole.
Is writing a purgative for you? You feel like you just got
That's kind of like the whole deal, It's like I've heard Jerry talk about this before, and I basically follow the same line in that there's writers who I don't know what they do, but there's writers who write because if they don't write, they're going to become fucking serial killers, or they're going to commit really heinous atrocities.
Most of them write self-help books, weirdly enough.
Well, this book's been called a self-help book
Absolutely,
disguised
yes.
as a novel, so I don't know, but yeah, I mean, so it's purgative. That's the word. Yeah.
Yeah, I've often, said basically to shut off the voices in my head. Not to brag, I'm just saying. Yeah. But everybody has their reasons.
Yeah, and the reasons can be pretty demanding, pretty compelling. I mean,
Are you writing now? You working on anything?
I'm in the middle of a bunch of books that I've been writing my whole life, and I'm still writing them. And it's a series of books, and it's kind of like a surreal, nightmarish memoir that's going to run about 3,000 fucking pages, so it's obviously going to have to be chopped up into a bunch of little books or something, but it's called Scab Vendor Confessions of a Tattoo Artist,
Sure.
for want of a better name. And it has developed itself into like a multi-generational, really fucking surreal, I don't know what the fuck it is. It's telling me what to do all the time. And, God willing, I can live long enough to finish this fucking thing, because if it doesn't get finished before I die, I have no doubt that I will become a very angry ghost haunting places like this, just pissed off, at everything and everybody, and I don't want that to happen, so, I gotta finish.
On the other
this.
hand, I once had a publisher tell me that if I died now, my books would be bestsellers, so it might be actually to your advantage if you croaked right at the point where you're done.
Well, how do you have your cake and eat it too like that? Like maybe we could
Depends on the
stage,
cake, man.
maybe I could, drive your car off the fucking
Sure.
Mulholland Drive.
Feel free. I hate that car.
Some cliff in Mexico,
Yeah, sure.
Put some dead guy in there, and you could fuck off to somewhere else. And,
Yeah, sure.
yeah, we gotta.
It's been done.
Well, let's talk about that.
Okay.
All right, but probably not in public.
No.
No.
His body's out of the trunk.
Yeah.
Well, I'm guessing that you probably are itching to read right now, so.
I don't know if itching is the word that I would use, but these guys look like they might get up here and hurt us if we don't do something
Are
different.
you going to stand and take the mic, or?
I got the mic right here, but I guess I will. We got some musicians here too.
I'm gonna get out of your hair.
Well,
It's been an honor talking to you.
It's been my pleasure, Jerry. Thank you so much for coming.
Jonathan Shaw, everybody.
Okay, so I'm gonna try to find something to read here. These guys are warming up. This is from the prologue. Whoa. It hasn't rained for over 40 days. Sterile, dumb, cloudless skies, cold and barren, lunar dreamscape. 2 months into this cosmic indignity, I sat shores of moonless night again, scratching mosquito scars on my tired forlorn feet, smoking a cigarette, tasting the bitter chemical burn on my tongue from kissing Narcisa. Narcisa, my wounded love, her childish pink lips sucking on the crack pipe all day and all fucking night. She's off on another mission, 4 days running now, sitting up in the attic of that old abandoned house, smoking crack in the dark, surrounded by ghosts and spiders and rats and bats and things that move so fast in the shadows of her disturbed nightmare vision they have no name or definition, even in her own surreal supernatural vocabulary. She came breezing in here last night, belching and farting like a truck driver. Stripped off her clothes and laid her perfect teenage ass down on my worn old sofa, snarling like an angry Rottweiler. Let's go, Snow! Let's fuck! Come on, bro! Let's go! I was already hard, working myself into that deep, special, ineffable darkness of her. The only place I've ever really wanted to be. Grabbing that hard, goosebumpy candy apple ass in my hands. Clutching her wiry young carcass to me like a life preserver. Feeling complete and whole as her long arms and legs wrapped around me. Enveloping my soul like the wings of a giant praying mantis. Taking me down, down, down into realms of peace, comfort, and death. Narcisa Dakini, the bitch of 1,000 whores, the one I love, the one I hate. Half an hour later, she was up on her feet again, getting dressed, a soldier, suiting up for battle. She stormed across the room, snatching my cash off the dresser like a bird of prey as she flew off into the hot, murky night, yelling over her shoulder to that crooked, sing-song acid chant. Thank you, come again! And I fell back into a fitful sleep, wondering if that supersonic screaming fuck was a dream or a nightmare, or some terrible karmic debt I must pay over and over again. Soon she'll have to crash, I'm thinking, and then I can get some sleep at last, without being awakened every couple of hours to fill her hole with sperm and her hands with cash and coins and candy and bubblegum and trinkets and cigarettes. And a handful of ashes from under my sad old tired gypsy balls. Find something else to do. Thank you. Good today. Is that too loud? Anybody?
Fabulous.
Sounds real good to me. Brandon Burkhart and Greg Foreman in the house, ladies and gentlemen. Narcisa didn't like to be alone, ever. She liked the rain. Didn't even care about getting soaked in an apocalyptic downtown. Apocalyptic tropical downpour, which happened more than once as we flew through the nights on my motorbike. Maybe she didn't mind it because it gave her something to complain about. You see, Narcisa loved to complain. When not complaining, Narcisa enjoyed classical music, old Brazilian rock and roll, bubble bands, bubble gum, anything to do with smoke and fire. She always said she'd smoke anything, literally anything at all. To prove it, whenever she was around, she would chain smoke all my cigarettes and dig through the overflowing ashtrays, searching for butts. She consumed copious quantities of weed. She even puffed up tobacco pipes and cigars. Narcisa didn't care. She would smoke any fucking thing that came her way, including PCP, DMT, and crack cocaine. Speaking of smoking, she wanted to be cremated, not buried under any circumstances when she died, which she hoped would be real soon. To that end, she'd leave lighted cigarettes burning on the furniture and random spots around my place. Maybe in the hopes of fulfilling her death wish by starting a fire and smoking herself as a swan song. Narcisa was well named. Obsessed with mirrors, she could stand before one for hours on end, lost, hypnotized, looking at herself, studying, reading, flirting, admiring her own marvelous, sensuous, ghostly image in the looking glass. Despite an almost pathological narcissistic fascination with herself, Narcisa had a special dislike for her physical body, her spacesuit, as she referred to it, and she punished herself without pity every chance she got, often provoking street fights with strangers just for the hell of it, thereby getting them to do the job. Narcisa was covered in battle scars and stitches, bruises, cuts, and messed up homemade tattoos. She also liked to cut herself with sharp objects. As an extension of the perfect adolescent body she despised, Narcisa hated her bodily functions. She had no patience with going to the bathroom, producing waste, shitting, defecating, she called it. Not even caring to verbalize the word shit for its intended usage. Narcisa abhorred her period, her pussy, her tits. She spoke of having them cut off her someday, tiny as they were, if she ever got enough money to pay for plastic surgery. She often lamented having been born a female. She didn't care for women much as a whole. Still, she was always oddly tolerant of other teenage girls like herself, especially when she wanted something from them. Usually sex. Yeah, Narcisa also hated men. Can most of you hear me, or I kind of like the reverb, but if it's could it?
Between the music and the echo, it's just a struggle.
Pull it back a little bit.
Pull it back a little bit. Well, see, that's why you gotta buy the book, by the way. This is all part of the trick to get you to dig in your pockets and buy the book, because this is how we support ourselves, guys like me and Jerry. We make a very meager living at it. So every book sale actually helps. Okay, now that the infomercial is over, we'll continue with our program for the evening. How about Crackdown? This is called Crackdown. Narcisa talked late into the night, telling me of her time in Crackdown, long lost months trudging the tragic depths of that throbbing apocalyptic metropolis, scrounging around in the shadows of the infamous Skid Row, Cracolândia, down by the old abandoned bus terminal. I sat in silence, shaking my head. My poor little friend had clearly paid a dear and painful penance for the sins of a failed flirtation with the American dream. She spat on the floor and went on as if describing some terrible movie she'd been subjected to. São Paulo is the only place in the whole world where ever I smoked so much fucking crack I don't even want to smoke it no more. Crazy place in Cracolândia, Cigano. So many different drug dealers there, 100 traficantes in every street, and always the big Chevrolet Blazer full up with the cops. All the rifles pointing out the window all the night, they're just sitting at every corner watching, but they don't do nothing. Fuck, what the fuck they even doing there? Maybe just waiting around, you know, for getting payoffs for people. What fucking people? There ain't no fucking people in there, bro. Only the crack monster. Nobody even know anybody else fucking name in this fucking place. You got it? In the Cracolândia, they know only one thing, the big square-shaped crack rock. Seems like a big dice. In the Cracolândia, for 50 cents, you get a real big dice like this so much. She held up her big sooty thumb, forefinger, indicating a massive crack rock. I whistled. Fuck, that's enough to kill a fucking rhino. As she rambled on about Sao Paulo, it all played out on the screen of my mind. My poor, wild-eyed little friend stuck in that monstrous, dumb slum, crawling like a crippled white lab rat through the dismal, death-blackened, dead-end crack alleys of Santa Efigênia. Santa Efigênia, the same merciless hell pit I'd once been stuck in, a place of total darkness. The only light provided by cruising police meat wagons trolling the night for cadavers. Cracolândia. As Narcisa talked, I conjured up the shady figures of dark, dingy, urban despair, moving in the blighted shadows of my memory. Like crippled phantom tree sloths, haunted lost souls of the damned, firing up cheap, formaldehyde-laced crack rocks and sooty alleyways, trudging in a dull, endless procession through the valley of the shadow of death. And in a flash, I was there again, reliving my own terrible fall down into the stinking psychic purgatory, seeing it all again in the frantic flashing light in Narcisa's eyes. Filthy concrete mazes of narrow, greasy, dead-end alleyways, a world of creeping shadows, the darkness punctuated only by the sad little flicker of cheap plastic lighters. As she spoke out, my mind's eye watched the whole vivid replay of hellish images. The befuddled, huddled, subhuman mummies of Cracolangia lurking in a long, senseless nightmare of perpetual concrete night, wrestling with the specter of doom and ratty makeshift tents and tattered newspaper and shit-encrusted plastic garbage bags. Dregs of humanity unwashed and demented, amputated from society, cut off from life like abscesses on the pallid arms of dead junkies, shambling, rambling, wandering ghosts. And I pictured Narcissa there shuffling through a cold, dark season of hell, just like I had done decades before, back in another lifetime, another nightmare. Choking back tears, I looked at her. Why'd you stay there so long, Narcissa? I mean, what did you do every day? And even as the words left my mouth, I knew it was a stupid question. It didn't matter. Narcissa needed to talk. Whatever, bro. Nothing to do with us, you know. Time don't exist in this fucking place, got it? You only do the same shit all day, every day. Just go to one corner, get the rock. Then run, and go to the other corner. Smoke, run. Go, then back the next corner, same thing. Like a fucking rat. This is the end. I watched her face in ghostly silhouette as she mumbled the eerie song lyrics. Then she fell silent. For a long while, the only sound was the soft, steady hum of the overhead fan. Finally, she spoke again. The whole time I stay there, I know it won't be over soon, bro. Because I know I'm not dead in this stupid shit place. And I don't even care no more. I don't give a shit for nothing. Got it? Just smoke. Nada mais. Only smoke and wait for the end to come. Porra, que merda. I could feel the soul-numbing futility as she experienced there. Narcissa, tormented by loneliness, self-loathing, guilt, regret. Her big triumphant return from the great American dream is all reduced now to a long-lost weekend in hell. Months of new traumas piling up on top of old ones. Poor baby. And I couldn't stop the visions marching across my brain as I pictured my sad-faced, lonely little friend linking along the grimy gray pavements of São Paulo's cold, dull neon forest, like a deranged, depressive little meat puppet sinking down into the shadows of that faceless, teeming slaughterhouse of souls. We got time for one more? Yeah. Okay. Devil's kiss. as she dragged me along behind her like a crippled appendage. Another furious beating frenzy began. Shopping, the force of her boundless need was unstoppable. Her anguished, whining demands raged in my ear like a blaring emergency siren. Her brain was a nervous, buzzing hornet's nest of agonizing, stinging contradictions as the day dragged on like a stumbling, drunken wretch. Watching Narcisa coveting everything she saw, I flashed back to when I first found her again after her long, mysterious disappearance. There she stood that cold, lonesome windy night, hungry and destitute, strung out, crazed and abandoned, crying, shivering all alone in the rain. At first I thought it odd to see Narcissa in such a sordid state. Where was the old prideful princess then? The one who'd always deemed herself so superior to the lowly station of a common street hooker. Now the mighty I Am had fallen. All the way down from the exclusive top-shelf cowgirl joints at the other end of the beach, toppled from her Made in America, plastic, fantastic, magical gringo honeymoon American dream love boat cruise. Down the wobbly ladder of her own bright-eyed consumer dreams in that decrepit state of pitiful, dirt-poor demoralization. Filthy, homeless, clad in burnt-out, torn-up, tragic tatters, but still clutching an equally filthy letter to Louis Vuitton bag to her breast. An impressive little relic that looked like it had been excavated from 10 tons fucking tomb along with its unlucky owner. Where are her Louis Vuitton consumer dreams dead? Having squandered away all my cash on her every frivolous whim, by noon I was broke and unable to buy her any more clothes and shoes and spangles and gimcracks and wigwams and bubbles and beads. Thank God it's over at last. I breathed a deep sigh of relief at the prospect of finally getting home to rest. But there would be no rest. Now she insisted we go straight to the big fancy shopping mall. My nerves were shot, sick double with fatigue. I tried to explain I was broke. I pleaded, reminding her I'd already bought her 100 useless trinkets. No dice, Narcissa didn't care. She wanted to go to the mall. I floated over my latest dilemmas and we sped across town, zigzagging through deadly bumper-to-bumper traffic, risking life and limb as she babbled in my ear, telling me to hurry. Fuck, what am I gonna do? Where am I gonna get any cash? I haven't been out to hustle in eons. I can't. Narcissa needs me all the time now. And I've agreed to this madness. Beg for it. Shit. I needed her more than I needed money, more than my sanity. Now I have no sanity. Now I have no money. Oh God, fuck. What a shit fest. With a sinking grin, I spied the gigantic glittering mall looming dead ahead. As I drew closer, I shuddered, brooding. Fuck the way things are going. I'm gonna end up homeless, a beggar, a bum, eating out of garbage cans with crippled mangy butts. My left eye will be infected with little green bugs, eating their way into my brain. Narcissus run off with another rich gringo to Paris. Staying at the Ritz with her new husband, another crackhead. A rich one with a platinum credit card. Shit, a famous rock star with a bigger dick than mine. Mick Jagger, Johnny Depp, Paris Hilton, Louis Vuitton. Fuck! I want to die! I'm never gonna make it. Okay, I'm gonna do one more. And then Devil's Kiss. The one we just sort of pulled out of our ass last time. Okay, the narrator has, he's slipped her a Mickey so he can get some sleep. Because you see, she stays up smoking crack for days on end. Nobody sleeps when she's awake, and so finally his result of desperate measures is put it down in a sandwich, and she's passed out. And while she's passed out, he decided to hack into her emails and start looking into her emails. As Narcisa snored the hours away, I went through her emails. There were dozens of them, and I kept going back to that one stinging nightmare message reeking of the tomb of ancient betrayal. A gringo, another sucker, another trick, another savior, another hustle, another quit, another twiddling anchor, another man, some random ass-faced foreigner, Austrian, German, Swiss, whatever. Another white knight from some nice, clean, logical, safe, milk-fed, well-groomed, prosperous little European shithole with photo attachments of this stupid Mama Luke standing in the snow. Fucking pine trees jutting out of the white powder like demon fingers reaching up from hell. Grinning like a fat, overfed chaser cat in his well-bred, well-adjusted, wealthy little gringo winter wonderland like fucking Santa Claus. Arrogant little beer-swilling piss monkey standing there in his pretty pastel-colored sporty gringo ski clothes, skiing the Swiss Alps or the Matterhorn or Mount fucking Everest. Go shit up a fucking pine tree, you goofy little ass clown. As I went on, picturing Narcisa and this gringo together, all of a sudden I started laughing. The bitter, death-grin cackle of a murdered little ghost. Fuck some shit-brain gringo trick, bitch. Fucking whore was hijacking another dumb bastard all along, and right under my clueless fucking nose. Another magic gringo to swoop down and rescue her and carry her off to his neat, civilized, law-abiding Swiss Army knife, chocolate factory, clockwork, yodeling Nazi world of fairy tale dreams and twinkling Disneyland happy endings. Motherfucker, not worse chomping master race kick, all dressed up in his fancy state-of-the-art, high-tech German ski gear. Looking at the gringo's pictures, I conjured an image of Narcisa out on the slopes, skiing and designing black leather German underwear, flying through the smoky, snowy pines at supersonic silver speed, a crack pipe dangling from her breathless blue lips, and a Bible tucked under her arm, shouting, screaming, raving, "Sinners, you're going to hell! Go live, stupid!" Hallucinating from sleep deprivation, the day was a long waking nightmare of betrayal. And I kept going back to that email again and again, seething at the realization that she'd spent her last days before me hustling in the long horror tradition of her mother's godforsaken race of whores, trying to reel in some other poor fool just like her mother's grandmother's whoring mother's man-murdering horror goes before her, and on down the line of snatch-peddling trumpets and floozies and good-time girls and backstabbing, black-hearted sidewalk slithering trollops all the way back to when they were all poor cave women bartering their beet-red whore monkey asses for bunches of green bananas. Suddenly I heard a faint sound of dry, bloody bones echoing in my ear. The Dakini was coming. I could hear her approaching, dancing into the long, dark, hazy night of my soul, hypnotizing me, holding me riveted to the screen, getting closer and closer, rattling down the lonely road to nowhere, whirling, gyrating her wild, feverish, forward, down, the key dance, grabbing me, dragging me down, down, down. Pulsing depths of a wound that never closes, never heals, never bends, never ends. Hey, little cutie, it's Fabio, remember me? Fabiano, remember me? Yeah, you came to my place during Carnival and we partied and you spent the night. I really want to see you again. Here's my number. Call me. The spirits increase. Bigger grows to a wound. You don't want to be home for peace, you know. If you go down this road today, you know, you can never go back. I'm not going to stay all alone and wait for you to come back. The spirits increase. I must say, I really miss being kissed by a girl, kissed by a girl with so much passion, so much passion, so much passion. I hope you're well, little cutie and sweet. Take care of yourself. Love, promise. Take care of yourself? What? Take care of yourself? Why? How? Fuck! That would defeat the whole fucking purpose of being Narcisa, of being the whore of Babylon, this heartless, merciless, stone-faced bitch and a pagan idol that I worship and given my stinking defeated lifeblood to feed and be fed to forever. I looked up from the computer to Narcissa's crashed out carcass littering my sofa, and the spirits increased, bringing me back to the beginning, back to when I first met her, back to when she was still the charming waif, the beguiling hostage taker, the enticing little acid queen before her mask had melted away to expose the stone-cold heart of an unsmiling succubus. A false idol to love that wasn't love at all, but a psychotic two-headed twin of domination and crabby, clinging dependency, that frigid, murderous, malevolent bitch of addiction, drawing me closer and closer till I put my throbbing, raw, bleeding red heart into her filthy, crack-blackened crab claw again and again, until she really finally had me, and then she yanked open the gates of hell, releasing the demons, the spirits, the spooks, and hobgoblins and ghouls to extract their fiendish retribution. Because the one who first drawn me in, the smiling one, the dancing one, the homeless waif with a cosmic fishbowl and a need I thought I could fill with my tainted, crippled love, now she was gone. Now only Medusa remains, snarling, spitting snakes, hissing, spewing ashes from her tangled, lethal dreadlocks of hell-bent doom and eternal bondage of self-obsession and want. I must say, Narcissa, I really miss being kissed by a girl with so much passion. The girls here are all so cold in Germany. I hope you're well. Take care of yourself, and sweetie. Love comes. Love Hans. This Hans's words were stuck in my brain like a sticky strand of half-chewed bubblegum. And as I sat reading the gringo's email again and again, sinking deeper into that festering swamp of jealousy and betrayal and regret, I remember the night in Copacabana when some little whore had stuck her bubblegum into my hair while sitting behind me on the bike. Another girl on the hostel had told me the only way to get rid of it was to cut out the gummy strands of hair, and that's just what I've done with her help. What was her name anyway? I screwed her twice and gave her a nice tip. Yeah, she was a good egg, that one. I read the email again. I really miss being kissed by a girl with so much passion, love, shit. Another poor, foolish bastard she tried to run off with, because like me, Narcissa always tried to run from the pain of her existence, even if she couldn't run because the pain was inside her. Tattooed onto every rancid, corrupt cell of her being, the indelible portrait of an abandoned child. And if she couldn't run to drugs or to Jesus, Mickey Mouse, Narcissa always ran to people. She could jump right into your soul and suck it dry as the desert sands of Alpha Centauri, trying to dodge the pain of being in her own inconvenient, miserable, tortured, passionate beggar's psyche. Passion, 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 passion. I couldn't get the gringo's taunting words out of my head. Kissed with passion? Was this fucker talking about the same Narcissa I knew? She never kissed me. Not since the first week we were together, back when she was still rubbing me in, fattening me up for this hellish slaughter. But after that, it was months before she ever let me kiss her again. Always turning her face away, clamping her lips shut like a clam, like I was trying to shove a fucking poison dart into her mouth or something. Shit. Only months later, after I marched through the gauntlet of clamoring demons in the torture chambers and screaming in evil hell to get her back after I proved myself 100 times as a worthwhile hostage, an asset, a sucker, a chump, a doormat, a worthy adversary, only then did she finally kiss me again. Ah, but when she did, it was as addictive as everything else about her. Nibbling away at her soul in passionate little bites as I fucked her and we disintegrated into a lingering human mist of lust, running my tongue long and slow across her teeth, her crazy pink bubblegum lips, drinking in her essence like a mad, sex-crazed vampire, inhaling her intense fevered breath like a crackhead sucking in the lethal smoke. Suddenly I got it. Jesus, fuck, that's it. Kissed with passion. Fuck. Maybe that tight-ass, beer-swilling, Nazi Aryan fuckwit Hans didn't know it, but I knew what all that so-called passion was. I knew its smell and its taste and its effect like I know the smell of boiling heroin in a bent blackened spoon as I hold a trembling match under it, preparing the next crucial fix to jam into a screaming, yearning, hungry black and blue vein. It's the passion of desperation. And only another addict could ever be attracted to that shit. For guys like Hans, when it's time to go back home to Austria or Germany or Bulgaria or wherever, back to Stuttgart, back to Gringolandia, back to Lipschitz, back to the bank, it's just time to go, and that's that. Not for an addict like me. For me, that mirror image desperation kiss was the kiss of death. The devil's kiss, and it's addictive as crack or heroin or chocolate or hang gliding. Doesn't matter what it is, it's all addictive. It's the bloody, screaming, monkey-ass banging human condition. Peanut butter milkshakes, miniature golf, television, computer game, work, sleep, sports, whatever, anything, everything. Because the addiction isn't in the substance, whatever it is. It's in the mind. And that's why Narcissa was so hard for me to ever put down. Because you can put down the crack, the booze, the milkshake, the girl, the boy, the billy goat, the vibrating dildo, the heroin, the fucking church bingo, whatever, you can put it all down again and again. But you could never shut down the mind. Even after the brain is dead, blown to wiggling, tormented, quivering smithereens. Because the mind lives on forever. You can kill the body, but the mind will never stop chattering away in the depths of your being like some insane, blazing, black-hearted, ring-tailed monkey sitting in a screaming, bleeding tree whose poisonous roots reach all the way down to hell. And that's why people like Narcissa and I just keep running and running and running, jumping into other people's souls, seeking relief where there can be no relief. unsettled, restless, and discontent, looking for that glow-in-the-dark, day-glow plastic Jesus to save us. People like us just keep running and running, trying to outrun the eternal plague of ourselves. Thank you. Thank you guys so much for coming out tonight. I really appreciate it.
Did you see the fan behind you?
Did I see the what?
Look around. He enjoyed himself.
Good.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
As he should. Thanks again. Thank you all so much. Thanks for coming, man. Appreciate it.
Thank you guys so much again for coming out. Let's give yourselves a big round of applause. We have Narcisa for sale at the front, as well as Jerry's books. They're going to be up here at a table signing and talking to you guys for a little while. Thank you so much for coming out.